What's up guys, it's that Red Yoda. Welcome back to another video, and this is my 2003 TRD off-road Tacoma. I got a few comments on one of my other videos asking me to do a walk around of my truck, and I originally didn't want to do one just because I felt like my truck wasn't far enough along yet, but looking back on it, it has come definitely a long way from when it was completely stock. So that's what we're going to be doing today, and let's get right into it. One of the first things you're probably going to notice is my headlights. So I have Morimoto Mini H1 projectors in here. I retrofitted these myself. I have one 80mm halo in the front and a 110mm halo in the back. Both of the halos are RGB. It's a pretty nice setup when you get the shroud. It looks really cool. The headlights perform fantastic. Another thing about my headlights is these corner lights. So, you know, on stock Gen 1s, you generally have this kind of lower light sitting around here on the stock bumpers, and that's for your turn signals. Obviously I have a 2 bumper, so there's nowhere to mount it for it to look really good anymore. So I tapped the hot wire into this parking light and replaced it with a LED, and that is actually my current turn signal. I think it looks a lot cleaner too. If you ever get a different bumper on your Tacoma, you know, whatever it is, pay for your bill, to, you know, there's a whole bunch to choose from. I would recommend doing that mod because it's pretty easy, and I think it looks a lot better than that kind of weird corner light. It doesn't really match anywhere. This is actually just a custom made tube bumper that, you know, it's got a skid plate and everything. You see them on like Baja trucks a lot. That's kind of what I'm going for, you know, a pre-runner type truck. The guy that I bought them from took them off of his truck because he was building his Tacoma into like a class 7 or 10, something like that, race truck. And yeah, so I got these, and they were in okay condition when I bought them. Like, everything was intact, you know. There's just paint worn, a little bit rusted. I cleaned it up, painted it. The front ones are weld on, and the rear one is bolt on. And also, I'm really happy with it. It's been a tough bumper. I got into an accident on this side, and it just was kind of pushed in a tiny bit, and I pulled it back out. But like, the truck was saved so much damage just because of this guy right here. So definitely, it doesn't have to be a 2 bumper, but I would recommend just getting a bumper for better approach angle. You know, if you look at that, yeah, that's going to be able to go up a lot of stuff, you know. And whether it's like a winch bumper or a 2 bumper, whatever you're getting, just that's probably one of the bigger mods that I'd recommend anyone who wants to go off-roading in any truck, really. So these are 33-inch Toyo AT2s. They're on 16-inch method mesh wheels. And they definitely do rub. So if you can look right there, that is a result of a full turn on the steering wheel. And I do have a solution to that. When I get a full long travel kit up front, the wheels are going to sit about 3.5 inches wider than what they are now, so it's not going to rub on the frame anymore. With the addition of the bulge fenders, it's not going to rub on anything. I thought it was pretty funny. I went in to get a balance and rotation not too long ago, and they just kind of checked the tread, and the guy told me, you know, like, there's almost no wear on those. Like, these are the rear ones. Well, they were the rear ones for the first 6,000 miles. If you look at these ones, which are the front ones, like, you can almost see the lip that is there when the tires are brand new. So you know, they're holding up really well. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they made it to 60,000 miles. I like how they handle. They get the truck feels a little bit more floaty when you have it on bigger tires. That's probably the first thing I noticed when I got them put on. And I still get about 17-18 miles to the gallon if I drive nice, which is about 1 less than I was getting without them. It doesn't really impact the gas mileage negatively very much at all. Also, another thing that I heard about bigger tires that ended up not being true in my case was the acceleration is going to be affected a lot. But, you know, this truck already has a 4:10 gear ratio, and it came with 31 stock, so moving up to 33s honestly barely even made an impact. Next thing I want to go over, and I never really made a video when I installed them or anything, but these are my ditch lights, and I have them in amber just because amber doesn't reflect off dust as much as white light. I'm sure a lot of you know that. And when I was following my friends at night, it got kind of scary with just the white light bar, because you can't see like 5 feet in front of you if it's really bad. So these definitely help. One of the things I did was, at least on Amazon, it's hard to find just a amber light pod for under, like, you know, there's the rigid ones, and those are obviously really nice, but they're about $100. and I found these aux beam pods, and they had pretty good reviews. They're not super high-end, but they definitely do the job. They don't come in amber though, so what I did was I purchased some amber film as well. I'll link that down in the description if you guys want to amber your, I don't know if you have any lights you want to make amber. But this stuff is sticking really well. I just cut it out and put it on, and you know, it gives me a, I wouldn't call it a true amber, but it's definitely a yellow light that penetrates through the dust better than just white does. And also, I wired these to my fuse box inside, so you know, when the truck's off, they turn off as well. Another thing people ask about sometimes is why my American flag is so tattered. And you know, I kind of have to explain to them every time that, you know, as I drive, the freedom disperses into the wind. So I'm actually just, I mean, I would call it pollinating the world with freedom. So everywhere I go, that is. So moving on to the inside of the truck. Mainly the stuff that I've done here has included switching out the backlights for the dash with red LEDs, just because I guess I'm kind of going for a red theme here. And they're bright, they work really well. I made a video when I did all of the lighting stuff in here. Here I have a 3D printed switch panel that I had my buddy make for me for my auxiliary. So this is my pods, this is my light bar, and here I'll probably put a light bar on top of my roof as well. This one I have planned for chase lights, and this fifth hole I have planned for reverse lights. Also, can't forget the Chinese AC knobs. These do actually fit on a first gen. I was surprised to find that out, and you should definitely get these. They had about 69 horsepower per knob. So, you know, with all three knobs, you're totaling at least 650 horsepower. Other than that though, everything else in here is pretty much stock. I replaced my speakers front and rear. They're Rockford Fosgates, and they're punchy, they're clean. I definitely like to listen to them. Hopefully I could do some tweeters soon, and I'll do like a small sub or something. I plan on redoing, or kind of making a new center box that's a little bit bigger. Also, I don't know why there's 4 cup holders in this truck. I feel like that's really unnecessary considering it can only fit, you know, 2.5 people. But yeah, the new box that I plan on making is going to extend like probably to there. There'll be a down sub so I can still access my shifter pretty easily. I have planned to put bucket seats in here. I really like the Sparco Chrono Roads. They're pretty affordable and they still recline, but they have high bolsters and everything, and they're suspension seats, so I really like that combo. That's probably going to be one of the bigger mods in here, so I'll get around to that hopefully after suspension. So moving around to the rear, as I said before, this is an all-pro bumper, and I didn't initially know that, but you know, it kind of is initialed right there, and I figured that out eventually. One of the things I really like about this bumper is how it's got some D-shackle mounts, so you can definitely mount recovery points. What I did over here next to my license plate was I got these little motorcycle license plate lights, just because I just think that looks a lot more slick than the ugly box type of thing. They still light up my license plate sufficiently. This is where I want to mount my reverse lights. So there's a little tab here, and the stock bracket that comes with those pods I have up front fits perfectly in here. What I'll probably do is get some higher quality true amber pods for my front, take the amber film off the ones I currently have, and put them back here as reverse lights. As I said though, I got this with the front one and the light bar for $300, so you know, I could not pass that up. Small thing I wanted to mention, if you have a Tacoma, at least the first gen, they have really small mirrors. Get one of these little blind spot mirrors. They really are a lifesaver because you cannot see that much with the stock mirrors. So before I go over future plans for the truck, I'll go over the last big mod that I did, which was Uniball upper control arms and a Fox 2.5 IFB coilover. So they ride pretty stiff now, but that's just because I haven't really gotten them tuned. And the reason I haven't gotten them tuned is because I plan on moving to a full long travel kit up front here pretty soon actually. So when I do all that, it's going to be set up properly and how it should be. But overall, I really like the shocks. They definitely articulate a lot better off-road than the stock ones. And also, given that my stock ones were blown, that probably also made a big difference too. But yeah, the upper control arm from BTF, it's held up well so far. It's really solidly built. They're a smaller company, but I found them easy to work with, and definitely a helpful staff. This is a spindle gusset. If you are doing this setup, you need, even for long travel setups, you need a gusseted spindle, because what happened to me, where I kind of bent my spindle, and as you can see, my Uniball assembly right there popped out of my spindle right there. Yeah, that sucked. We ended up being able to fix that. I got this gusset to reinforce the spindle, and as you can see, it just welds onto it all the way down. Another thing I'd recommend, I haven't been mobbing it too hard since, but even on a kind of stock replacement kit like this, you should still get limit straps, because flexing out that Uniball joint right there is it's not really good for it. So, you know, just strap it like an inch or so before it truly bottoms out. Future plans for the truck, you know, first thing in the front, definitely gonna, like I said, full long travel kit along with some fiberglass fenders. I really like the ones that Advanced Fiberglass Concepts make. I think they're the best looking ones in my opinion. They've just got smooth curves versus the McNeil 6-inch ones. Kind of, they have that bulge thing that just sticks out right here, and I'm not a huge fan of how that looks. I like it when it's more clean. That's just me though. In the rear, obviously my rear end is still stock. The plan right now is to do shock towers through the bed and mount Fox triple bypasses through all the way down. I'm just kind of talking to a few people trying to get figured out how we're going to fabricate it and everything. That way I'll be able to make mounts and maybe make like a inline toolbox right here in the bed, jack mounts, shovels, tools, like everything that I would need to take with me when I go off-road. A mod that I plan on doing really soon actually is building a new exhaust. So it's going to be away with the stock, and the plan is to put a Flowmaster 40 muffler in right now. I like how the 40 sounds compared to the 50. It's a little bit more aggressive. The plan is though to build it so it comes out the side in front of the wheel like that, which what a lot of guys do is they'll cut off the pipe right after the muffler, which is definitely functional, but you know, it doesn't look cool. And that's completely what matters. Another thing I forgot to mention about my bumper is it comes with these tabs to mount a valence. I personally don't like how the valence looks, so I took it off. And one of the things the guy mentioned was, who I bought it from, was the valence, you know, helps keep rocks out of the radiator. And, you know, fair point, it probably does. What we did was we took some bigger gauge diamond mesh, and we took smaller gauge behind it so rocks couldn't get through. So the bigger one is for stiffness and rigidity, whereas the smaller one can definitely keep rocks out. Still lets airflow get through just fine to the radiator, but you know, it's fully protected now. Thank you guys so much for watching. There's still definitely more to come. I'm not even close to being done with the mods and, you know, making this truck how I envision it to be. We're super close to hitting 100 subscribers, and I will do a small giveaway at 100 just because, I mean, I know that's not a lot, but it's a lot for me. I think that's pretty cool. Most likely next thing I'll be doing is that exhaust I mentioned earlier. I talked about doing a deck plate mod on my airbox at the end of last video, and kind of got mixed responses for where I posted it on Tacoma World. And what I'm thinking I might do, just because there is like so much people for it and so many people against it, and which I completely understand why to both sides, is I'm thinking I might try it out and run some tests to get some real numbers to see if it makes a difference both MPG wise and performance wise. Thanks so much if you made it to the end of the video. Subscribe if you're interested in following my build, and I'll see you in the next one.